Pledge allegiance and invocation by Councilman Applegate following. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, thanks for bringing us together tonight. Please give us the wisdom and the knowledge to make the correct decisions for the citizens of this community. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Item number 4, roll call.
Councilmember Parker, Applegate,
Present.
Martinez,
Present.
Panacea,
Present.
Mayor Reed.
Present. Item 5, communications from staff. Any at this time?
None.
Okay. Item 6, items from the public, non-agenda items. Any member of the City Council welcomes and encourages participation in the meetings. It would be appreciated if you'd limit your comments to 3 minutes so that everyone may be heard. Matters under the jurisdiction of the council, not on the posted agenda, may be addressed by the general public at this time. However, California law prohibits the council from taking action on any matter which is not on the posted agenda unless it's determined to be an emergency by the city council. Any non-agenda items? Items from the public, agenda items. Any member of the audience desiring to address the council on a matter of agenda, please raise your hand or step to the podium at the time the item is announced by the mayor. In order that all interested parties have an opportunity to speak, any person addressing the council will be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes unless the mayor grants a longer period of time. And please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record. Item number 7, public hearings. There are none. Item 8, consent calendar. Item 8A, approval of warrants. 8B, approval of minutes for the April 10th, 2001 special meeting and April 10th regular meeting. Item 8C, adopt resolution number 2001, a resolution authorizing a general fund administrative surcharge for a non-general fund cost. Anyone?
Bob Naveau wishes to pull C.
You don't have to pull it.
Oh.
Okay.
Bob Naveau, 940 Fresno Street, Naveau Jewelers. Just on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce, I'd like to thank Cleve, the city manager, and Margaret, the finance director, for attending their meeting and explaining the surcharge charges. And you have a letter from the president thanking you in depth, and I just wanted to go on record with that as per their request.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. Can we have
I move that we approve the consent calendar.
second?
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. Item number 9, 9A, information report on handling parking near fire hydrants.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. As you can see from our report, we've addressed this on several occasions, and starting on January 23rd, we were first addressed by Mr. Byrd coming before the council and making it known to the council regarding the fire hydrant to the front of his home, that he was requesting that be reduced from the 15 feet to a lower level so he'd be able to park a vehicle to the front of his home. We again addressed it on February 13th council meeting, and staff recommended that the 15 feet requirement be maintained around fire hydrants. And Mr. Byrd brought up the fact that the problem is affects many residents, not just his, and that this is a common problem throughout this, the city. And he felt that the 30 feet that we were asking from on each side of the fire, or in total 15 feet on either side of the fire hydrant, was excessive. So it was again brought back to the council on March 13th, and at that council meeting, staff was provided guidelines that were used by other cities, and did include provisions for less than the 15-foot standard in residential zones. Staff continues to recommend that maintaining the state standard in residential areas. Fire Chief Souza told the council that the fire department may be able to to conduct fire suppression operations in less space than the state standard. In researching the existing fire hydrant issue of no parking zones, had been authorized by ordinance or city council by state law that we were able to find in our archives. At that time, city council wanted staff to work out a policy for handling of fire hydrants, no parking zones, and they wanted the director of public works, the fire chief, and myself to meet and develop a policy or standard on the matter. We did meet, and we did come up with a policy. We also discussed other things that were related to that, and basically, we still feel that that residential, that these fire hydrant no parking zones are not appropriate in residential areas, and that's as you can see, it's outlined in the policy that we have. And as part of the report that you have before you, I had the main thing that I saw out of this was basically that we were able to really come down to fire suppression as being the paramount issue in this. And so, again, we were going after what the fire chief, since he's the expert in that area, would recommend, and basically he wanted to have it stay at the 15-foot or the 30 feet in total length around fire hydrants. One of the other issues that was brought up by our Public Works Director, Ernie Garza, is that he also recommended that we go with that, but also that he recommended that the current red zones that are existing, that they be sandblasted off, and instead of trying to paint over those, because that will end up showing back through. And but that he also wanted the council to be aware that due to the nature of the manpower that he has and the demands that are placed upon it, especially with our season coming up as far as parks and weeding and such, that he would request that this go, recommend this be contracted out. So he wanted also to make you aware of that. So basically it comes down to, council has the following alternatives. You can stay with the state standard of 15 feet or a total of 30 feet from a fire hydrant as recommended by the fire chief, police chief, and public works director. Have the existing red zones in the residential areas sandblasted off. It's a no maintenance issue and it is standardized, and this is the alternative that staff is recommending. You could stay with the state standard and address individual complaints with the policy of guidelines, and authorize by resolution the authority to establish red zones for the fire hydrants to the chief of police with the approval of the fire chief and the public works director. The third one is you can have set policy or ordinance or resolution with other criteria for considerations as part of that policy, or you could have any combination of those above alternatives. One of the things I wanted to kind of point out to you, and I think a picture is kind of worth 1,000 words, so let me bring up some pictures.
It's upside down now. You're close though.
I'm close. Okay. Let's
Turn
see.
it, no,
Just
this
turn
way.
around.
There you go.
There we go. Well, you can tell I'm probably not, my presentation speech is probably not what I got hired for. What I wanted to point out is basically,
Yeah. Why don't you remove that clock, Mike, please?
okay.
It's running today.
Thanks, Bob. But basically, what I want to do is just kind of show you exactly kind of what we're talking about here. So basically, this is my rendering of what this looks like, although you can tell I better keep my day job because this art isn't very well. Anyway, from the corner to the fire hydrant is about 9 feet, and this is the area that we're talking about here, which is 22 feet. And then there's a driveway approach which you cannot block. So basically, we're looking at this 22 feet here. Across the way here, if you add these up here, it basically comes out, even with the driveway here, This house here actually faces onto eucalyptus, so this is just a fence and a side yard. So there's 47 feet over here. Now, this is Mr. Bird's home, where it's located, but to the front of where the house would be, the front portion of that house would actually come up to about 22 feet. So he'd actually be able to park to the front of his home, but it'd be the front side of that portion. And plus, there's another 40 feet between there and Driscoll. This is a very wide road, 60 feet, and with Waxman being 47 feet. So there's a lot of area to park in that, and this is a common scenario that kind of comes up throughout the city. There's a number of these. Now this is actually a picture of that, and this is that 22 feet that we're talking about here to over here. And the other portion that we're talking about is where you can park down this way over here. They're 22 feet from where that curve, it kind of comes at an angle. I'll have another picture that kind of shows that. And there's 22 feet that can be parked up to the front of this portion of his home right here. And let's see here. Okay, and that's that portion on eucalyptus to the side of his home. And it's 22 feet from here to right here, because it kind of dips for the handicap area. This is from eucalyptus looking onto Waxwing, and I was just going to show this area here. This is that house that's across the street from his home, and that's how most of these are. When they have it to the front of somebody's home over here, this area is all blanked off over here. So there's a substantial amount of parking over on this side. It's about 41 feet or 47 feet. So with a parking stall being, the state standard being about 20 feet, you can put a little over, or you could put 2 cars in there very easily. So there is 2 over here and another portion onto the side there. So there's actually about 3 to 4 car lengths. Plus, if you went all that side of his home there to Driscoll, there would be enough for about 2 other vehicles there. So you could possibly have 5 to 6 vehicles in that one area right there without utilizing this area right here to the front of his home. So that's what I'm kind of basing our report on. So I'll be taking on kind of questions you may have regarding this issue, if you'd like to see these pictures further, or I know that Mr. Bird's here to address this.
Any questions for Chief Brady?
Do you have an opinion, Chief? What's your opinion?
My opinion is that we should stay with the state standard. I stated that in the report.
Well, I support the staff recommendation that we stay with the state standard of 15 feet from a fire hydrant as recommended by the fire chief, police chief, and director of public works. Have existing redstones and residential zones sandblasted off, and no maintenance issue is standardized.
That's a motion?
Yeah.
Do you want to hear from, give Mr. Bird an opportunity? Or?
Yeah, we should do that.
Probably
Mr. Bird,
should.
do you want to say anything else? I know we've kind of talked this whole thing to death.
Looks like I have
Yeah.
nothing.
How many vehicles do you have at your house? I know your sons live there.
This is in the backyard. I have 1, 2, 3, 5 there now. I was going to buy a new truck. I was like to get another vehicle, so I don't have any more miles on my new car. So
Well,
that's
you know, in theory, we're talking 2 cars in the garage, 2 in the driveway, and 1 on the street. But if you're like everyone else, like the rest of us, the garage is full of stuff. You can't get cars in. So it's,
I'm trying to keep it out.
I sympathize with your problem, but unfortunately, you're in a. I don't know if there's any others exactly like yours or not.
Across the street, his garage is
You need to have him come to the mic. He's going
Yeah, would you come up here, Mr. Bird, if you want to, so we.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Mike,
Yeah.
can you bring that out there? Sure.
You do? Okay. Oh. Okay, no problem. I don't know how much right now.
Any one of the pictures.
And anyone but that one? No, that's okay if you want to use that.
Turn it around, there you go. That's the way.
Okay, so let's say that this is my house here. And this is the house across the street where you say you can park 2 vehicles. Okay, this guy here, he's got 3 vehicles now, and he's slowly accumulating them. His garage is full, he can't put any vehicles in his garage already, I know that for a fact. Okay, he's gonna be coming around that corner too. And he's saying, my wife, she needs a new truck. She's already shopping for another truck now. And she parks across the street already in the company truck. Okay, my garage is filling up. I have 2 vehicles in my garage now and 2 vehicles in the driveway now, and a car in the backyard. Okay, that's 5 vehicles. Okay, we put 2 up. For this area over here, when you look out, say someone is breaking into your car or something, you look out your front window, you see them breaking in there, you show yourself, and maybe they'll get scared and leave without taking anything. Over here, you can't look out your window and see anything happening over there, over here. We have a kitchen window here, to look out it, but all we see is a fence. This portion here, we can't see that at all from the house, from inside the house. Here, we can look out any of the front windows in the house and see it.
But see, we're looking at one spot in front of your house.
Yeah.
That's taking care of 1 out of 7, theoretically 7 vehicles, which really isn't. You're still going to have to put something on the side or across the street or something. And the thing is, we have 22 feet there. We go for the state standard of 20 feet for a parking place. And I talked to Mike about this. I don't know if there's any state laws or whether what, but I've received a ticket in Modesto for parking closer than 2 feet to a driveway. So if you get that 2 feet plus 20 feet.
Your own driveway?
My own driveway, yes.
Mike will give you a ticket.
So, no, I know that, but it's I don't know whether it's a state thing or what. So that 2 foot does come in there somewhere. And anyway, it's just a point where I think that we've talked back and forth on this and we're not really getting it.
Well, right across the street from my mother's house in Haywood, there's the same situation with the fire hydrant right here. My mom lives over here. Right across the street, there's the same situation. They have started right at the fire hydrant and painted around the curb. This is enough room to park in front of 2 cars in front of this house. But they started right at the fire hydrant and painted around the curb. And the next consecutive block, they did the same thing again. And this is a large city in California.
Yeah.
Right across the street. I mean, it's fresh. It's a bright red, freshly painted.
I don't know if our fire chief got us a picture, I believe, off the internet. Mel, is this where this picture came from that you gave us? That theoretically, what can happen if you park too close to a fire plug? And I'll show it to you after a while, before you leave. But it's something we really don't want to get into, I don't think. So.
Well, I understand that the fire department does need room to do their job. And if I was allowed to park in this spot, I would definitely not park in the other spots where he would have to park his fire hydrants if there was an emergency. Also, I mean, look at it from both sides.
Yeah.
I mean,
And then we have to look at, okay, we do this, and there'll be some other ones, and we're going to have to paint those, or not paint them and keep them painted. And to just do away with everything and stick to the state standards, I think probably is going to be as good as any to solve this problem. In your individual case, I just don't see any way that we can possibly do this. And anyone else have any comments on that?
No, I just repeat my motion.
Yeah, well, it's on the
the
floor.
state does allow for you to cut down from the 15 feet.
You're right, it does. But in your case there, I don't see how we can do it and still have a decent distance there to the
The
fire.
fire chief said that he didn't need the whole 15 feet there.
It's up to the rest of the council.
Okay.
So, like I say, I think we would
It's a
talk.
large
and I-
intersection.
And I do sympathize with your plight there, but I just don't see how we can do that particular one. And if you didn't have any, you didn't have any parking on the sides, I don't see how we could really do that. If you were in the middle of the block and the fire plug was there. It's unfortunate that the builders were allowed to put that fire plug at that point, but unfortunately they were, so that's something we are looking at on future subdivisions. That doesn't happen.
Well, I know there's 2 houses with them like that. They put them up for sale. I don't know what to do for people moving in there, so.
Okay, thank you for your time. We have a motion on the floor.
I'll second Tom's motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0.
4.
4, I'm sorry.
One
4-0.
of-
Forgetting Tim's not here. Item 9B, adopt resolution number 2001, next number, adopting the final map for Phase 1 of Unit 1, Stevens Ranch subdivision.
Okay, Mayor and Council, you have your packet here. I have one question for our city attorney, quickly before we do this. Do we need to move item 9C up before this, or is it just a technical thing, or?
I would do that. I also have, just to give you a little background, I faxed over a draft a while back, and we've been talking on the phone and changing a few things even here tonight. I saw one thing on our new and improved version for the security amount. Down at the bottom, we have 10%. I think we meant 100.
No, that's the warranty amount afterwards. That 10% is correct on that. There's 100% of the bonds, performance and payment bonds are required, and then there's the 10% warranty after those are installed. I believe, is that correct? But if the council would please, I think it would be correct to switch around items 9B and 9C, and we need a motion, right, to do that, Tom, or
No, not
just to move it? Okay. So
that's a concurrence of the council.
just to explain, the reason for that is technically, before you can approve the final map, you are supposed to have the subdivision improvement agreement approved and in place. And the subdivision improvement agreement is the next item on your agenda, so that should be done in order first. So,
Okay, so you want C instead of D?
if we could, please.
Okay, well, I move that we approve amendments to subdivision improvement agreement with Ranchwood Homes dated March 13th, 2001, less paragraph 3, security.
Yeah, actually, I had thought that we had entered into the agreement, but we hadn't signed that, so it's just to approve the latest version of the
Okay.
subdivision improvement agreement.
Right. And
Less paragraph
you
3.
you have the page before you that notes those changes. Everybody saw that? It was on your desk. They're very minor. The difference was that originally this was intended that they were going to do all the improvements before the final map. We changed. Now they're phasing the project. Therefore, we have to have the subdivision improvement agreement and the security to guarantee that.
So moved.
That's what has changed.
So moved.
Okay.
Second?
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0.
Okay.
That was item 9C. Item 9B.
B.
Read that again. Adopt resolution number 2001, next number, adopting the final map for Phase 1 of Unit 1, Stevens Ranch subdivision.
So moved.
Okay.
Second?
I'll second.
Go ahead.
I'll second that
All
motion.
in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Passes 4-0. Item 9D. Appointment, reappointment of Architectural Review Committee members.
couple of points I need to make here. Deborah Allen has, we have discovered, when we did this at first, we thought we were all set, and help me out here. Deborah Allen's seat is also up at this time, as well as the at-large resident, which is vacant. Deborah Allen has stated that she is requesting that she not be reappointed due to time constraints. We do have, and that is the planning commissioner appointment. Ed Ford and Paul, help me out somebody, Paul Wallace, excuse me, are both currently alternates from the planning commission, so it would probably be appropriate to appoint one of them as the regular member and leave the other one as the alternate. Ed Ford is here tonight. I understand, Ed, that you are interested in serving as the regular member if appointed, and both of them have that interest. But
Should we take care of that one first then?
that's fine if you would like to. Yeah.
I move that we appoint Ed,
Hold on just a second.
It's also reappointing Sheldon.
Right, Sheldon Crow's term is also up at this time. So it's Deborah Allen, Sheldon Crow, and the vacant one. And those would be reappointed for 2-year terms, correct, Judy?
No,
And that will keep our staggering at 1 year apart.
well, would Sheldon Crow have to be replaced by a historical society person?
Well, he will-
He's
he will
still on the
continue.
Historical Society.
Oh,
He
okay.
will continue.
He's not the
Oh,
president now, but he's still.
He wants to stay on it, yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deborah Allen, and you.
Okay.
You wanna go ahead with that then?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and then that we reappoint Sheldon Crow as the member from the Historical Society for the Architectural Review Committee.
Second?
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Passes 4-0. Okay, now back to the reappointment of Architectural Review Committee members, at-large resident.
Would you want to take the planning commissioner first, or since he's already here?
No.
Do what?
He did Deborah Allen.
Yeah, we did.
Or no, we didn't.
No, we didn't.
We didn't
We
do,
did-
no.
we didn't do Deborah yet. We
No.
just
That
did
was both
Sheldon.
of them.
No, he just did Sheldon
No,
Crow.
then I move that we appoint Ed Ford as the planning commissioner representative on the Architectural Review Committee.
I'll second that motion.
Favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0. Now, the at-large resident. We have,
Who would be the at-large?
Well, we have the 2 applicants here for the at-large, and that's what Jim Silvera and Tim Pfluger, and they are both in the audience tonight. I'd ask if either one of them want to make a statement, and then
let's start.
not required.
James Silvera is one. Jim, would you like to make a statement before we go into this, or?
Don't forget your name and address.
I'm Jim Silvera, 1419 T Street, and good evening, Honorable Mayor and council members. I would just like to say that I'm very interested in the position, the at-large position on the Architectural Review Committee, and feel that my 22 years in construction, which allowed me to do extensive renovations, remodels, additions, and new construction on both residential and commercial, would benefit the committee. Also, my experiences with the city in the past and going to seminars and classes that talked about how other cities have handled this and things that they have done, I think would serve the city in the long term. And I would just appreciate your recognition of that, and if I can serve you, I would be very proud of that. And if you have other thoughts tonight, I'm just glad that there are more than one applying. I think that's always healthy for the community. Thank you.
Is there anyone want to ask Jim any questions while he's up there?
Is his wife okay with this? Or?
The other-
Couldn't resist that one, sorry.
Other applicant is Tim Pfluger. Tim has an attachment here, and would you like to say anything else?
What did you?
If you'd come up to the microphone, please, Tim.
Might as well. I didn't think this was going to be a major race, but I just wanted to offer my assistance. I've been involved in architecture all my life. I was actually named after an architect who's my great uncle, and I've been involved in construction and landscaping for 26 years. So I think I'd be an asset. As I said in the application, there's a lot of things getting in and out of buildings that are critical and that I've been aware of over the years. And I just want to offer have about all I have to say.
Any other questions for Tim? Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Anyone have any?
No,
questions, or-
you know, it's always difficult when you have two gentlemen come before you and they're both very well qualified.
But it's good.
It's healthy.
Person, yeah.
It's better than good, it's healthy. And, you know, I personally have known Jim for a long time, and I know what he thinks about our city, so I would like to nominate Jim as the at-large resident.
Second.
Anyone else have anything to say before?
Well, I agree with Bob in that one of the few persons that I know in the city that really takes his job at heart when he was mayor, city council, and everything else. He really cares about this city, and thanks for that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Nomination second.
Aye.
Opposed? Jim Silvera is our new architectural review person. 4-0. Tim, before you get away from us here, I want to say that I appreciate you coming out here, and there's a lot of things coming up, planning commission and things like that, that we're always looking for people who are knowledgeable of the city, what we're looking for, what we're trying to do. And don't get discouraged. Try and come back and see us again. Would you please?
Okay.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Sure.
Today and yesterday I was thinking about the idea that the qualifications of Tim were very strong also in a little different light, but in a community like ours, or any community, the Architectural Review Committee not only works with architecture, but it does have a lot to do with the pedestrian right-of-ways to get to it and that surround it. And I thought that the at-large position is a very effective position on any committee because it allows you to bring in specialists, people with experience in specific areas that you're not bound by different committees having someone on there, which is very important. It gives us a right balance. But I was just wondering if in the future that the city consider 2 at-large positions and specify them in architecture and landscaping, because I think that they would serve the city greatly, and it is a thought and something that I'd like to see taken into consideration.
Thank you, Jim. Lee, would you look into the possibility of doing something
Sure.
like that?
The only thing, and we can maybe resolve this another way, and this committee probably isn't a big concern, but normally on any committee or like this, you would try to have an odd number of people. If we added one more, that would give us an even number, but may not be a big issue on this one, but we could always add 2 and come up with another member. And but yeah, we will look into that and see. I agree. That's a great point. You know, most architecture that you look at, if it doesn't have good landscaping around it, is not what it should be. So it's a good point.
Item number 10, items from the city manager. Anything else, please?
I don't believe I have anything to add unless there's any questions from the council. on
What about
the-
authorizing payment of $5,369 for the California Northern Railroad?
I saw that in there. I wasn't sure.
9E.
It's item 9E that, it's from our March 14th meeting.
You get typed on the business.
What
I
do
thought
we
we
need?
did that last time.
No, we didn't.
No. No. What do we need to do in that case, Tom?
It's not on our,
It's not our agenda, we probably need to,
Put it off till
yeah,
next meeting.
we can hold it to the next meeting, yeah.
As long as they don't take our regular person.
We're fine. We can hold it till the next meeting, that's fine.
there's an immediate need to act,
Call PG&E. Anything else?
That's all.
Okay. Items from city council members. Tom?
No
You said
comment.
everything tonight.
Yeah. Huh?
Not you have anything else to say?
No,
Can't believe that.
right out.
Tim's not here. Bob?
Just that, I think we got lucky this last week on the weather. We're always blessed with good weather, but it was a good outing for people that came out on Saturday. That's all I have.
I'd just like to thank everybody for coming to the fun run, and we had a good day, thank God. Wasn't quite the turnout I'd hoped, but we did okay. We're already brainstorming for next year.
Anything else?
That's it.
Okay. And I'd like to thank John and Mike Maldonado for the program they put on. Get a bunch of happy people there. And one other thing, on this, our streets, our storm drain system, when they finished with it, it was nice, but there sure was a lot of mud on that street. And I want to thank Mel and his firefighters for getting down there with the water truck and cleaning this off. And I wanted to get with you, Mel, and find out who they were so I could mention them. If you'd like to come up and tell me who they were, tell everybody who they were, why. I don't know who was with you.
The people that helped wash the streets down?
Yeah.
It was me and John Perino and Chris Vargas. I think we used about 9 tankers of water, about 4,000 gallons per load. to
I
wash
think
all
you
the
found
streets.
that you had muscles you didn't know you had.
Yeah, right.
We certainly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mel.
Thanks.
Anyone have anything else?
I move we adjourn.
All in
I'll
favor?
second it.
Huh?
Oh, did they on that?
Public Works crew, yeah.
Whoever did it, it's fine. Good job. Okay,